Hey guys, welcome to the channel. If you're new, welcome back if you're a subscriber. Special thanks to all of my patrons. My name's Neil and it's time for the next episode of Arcane. The last episode, guys, had a bunch of new revelations. Vi discovered that Silco isn't keeping Powder captive, but that Powder is Jinx. Jinx works for Silco, and Silco thinks of her as her daughter. I mean, it was a literal and figurative gut punch when Vi got that info. At the very end of the episode, Silco finds out that Vi is still alive because Marcus told him that she was disposed of instead of just put in prison. Powder's on her way, Jinx is on her way to figuring out how to weaponize the Hex Tech. Jace has discovered how to work the politics of politics. He had that great scene in the, I want to call it the opera, even though there was no singing, but that very operatic violin performance, where instead of making enemies with the other counselors, Mel teaches him how to have these backroom deals, and they also consummate their relationship, taking it to the next level. Of course, that's happening while Victor is falling deathly ill, but his blood mixed with the Hex Tech and triggered something there, like the Hex Tech was begging for some sort of life energy, and it got it from Victor. And Victor's getting a little desperate. He knows he's dying, he knows he's sick, he knows he doesn't have long, and so he wants to leave his stamp on the world, leave a legacy, and Hex Tech is his way of doing it. So he's going to start taking even more risks with the technology of this magic as he tries to figure out what to do with it and how it all works. But he thinks that it can learn, that it's got some level of sentience almost, which is really cool. We got to know Caitlin better in the last episode. Here's one of the things I love about this show. Characters that come off originally as just straight antagonists, bad as far as we're concerned with the story. Characters like Silco, characters like Marcus. As the story evolves, they're still the antagonists, but we learn more about them, enough to humanize them, enough to understand how they think, how they tick. And it's understandable and sympathetic. We may not agree with what they're doing, but we could see ourselves maybe even making the same decisions if we were in their shoes. You know, Marcus, when he was at the funeral for the 6 fallen enforcers, that was a heartfelt speech of his, and he felt betrayed by Silco. He felt like he needs to do the right thing, and his right thing is different from other characters' right thing, but in his world it's the right thing to do, and his right thing to do is to control the Undercity and take Jinx off the streets and fight the crime. Of course, perspective from those in the Undercity is very different, but it's all about perspective. There is no true story. Everybody has their own truth. Everybody has their own perspective. Everybody's the hero in their own story. And I can't think of a single character in this series that isn't fully developed and realized in that regard. And it makes for such a rich story. So I'm excited to rewatch this next episode, because the story just advances by leaps and bounds as we go. But yeah. I love it. In case that isn't clear yet, I love everything about this show. It's so well executed, so beautiful to look at, great story, excellent characters. The design of the entire world and the characters within it is superb, and I will eat up any content that's set in a world this rich. So I'm psyched to see more. Guys, this is episode 6 of Arcane, and it's called When These Walls Come Tumbling Down. Here's how good the character design is. You look at that, and you immediately know that that's young Victor. Sky. Like, the metaphor of this scene is crazy. It's runaway technology that you can't keep up with. But if you keep following it, it can lead you to something unexpected. But it's literally runaway technology. Like, it's another beautiful thing that has been designed and made in this world. Just that little model boat is gorgeous. A wind-up clockwork boat. And a crazy giant salamander.
The mutation must survive.
Yeah.
Can I help?
It's not about her, it's about the mutation.
Assist me. We can be loners together.
Seems just yesterday I stumbled upon an aspiring young scholar from the Undercity here.
I like that they're seeding the world with these little flying insects, so that when we see them in the future, we aren't suspicious.
Will be short-lived.
It's a sad truth that those who shine brightest often burn fastest.
I love that that shape is evocative of both a skull, a la the Punisher, and a keyhole. It's like the way through a locked door, and it's also death. Though those are the two things that Victor's facing right now is his two challenges. He's got to beat death and figure out Hextech at the same time. Find his way through the locked door that Hextech is. Unlock its power before he dies. That's how paint used to be made. Like, you'd actually mix your own pigments with things like egg yolk.
Victor saved my life once. Now he needs me, and there's nothing I can do. I hate feeling so useless.
Why did you come to me with this?
Nothing feels impossible when I'm with you.
I find it interesting that the doctor Victor met as a child is the one responsible for Shimmer, and Victor is half of the responsibility for Hextech. Those two minds in that cave with the salamander changed everything in this.
Silco's goons aren't far behind.
What the hell's that?
The sign.
The sign. What's it about?
Can you do this?
No. No, she really can't, but she's gonna do it anyway. Like, she's just tough. She's not unbreakable. She's just willing to tolerate so much pain. Does she have a knife in her shoulder?
I feel like you and I got off on the wrong arm.
Just to, yeah.
Maybe we should try the other.
I'm not sure I even noticed that the first time.
It's your sister. She's back. She's looking for you. It's only a matter of time before you implode and Silco finally gets the message that you're about as good for our cause as you were for your family.
Man,
Jinx.
Savika's is as bad for her psyche as Milo was, and she knows it. Like, she's doing it on purpose.
10 out of 10, Toots. I think I know just how to deliver that message.
Man, calling her Toots just puts a button on her being like Harley Quinn, doesn't it? It's such a Harley type thing to say. I hear that that's one of the League of Legends champions in the book. A little Easter egg.
She's in the lanes. There's an enforcer with her. A girl.
Can't control her.
Well, then what good are you?
Then of what use are you?
That sign.
This only works if we can trust each other.
It doesn't work. It never has.
I can tell. You have a good heart.
You've got a good heart.
I love all the parallels from generation to generation. Like, Caitlyn is almost like the new Grayson. Vi is the new Vander. Jinx is the new Silco.
You must destroy it.
Yeah, he sees the future in it. It's identical to
If ever you
that
put faith in
image
my
he
guidance,
talked about
hear me now.
years ago.
I will have it destroyed one way or another.
We'll see if the council agrees.
Jace is a little bit like the new Heimerdinger. Heimerdinger certainly his mentor.
That's Vi, right?
She needs a doctor.
Not so simple to come by around here.
I forget this guy's name, but I know that he's the guy that we saw back in episode 1 in the last drop, who was getting screwed over in negotiations.
Trade.
What you gonna give up? That's all the shimmer you get. So on microdoses, it's basically medicine, but
I don't want her to see me like this. Tell her I'm sorry about everything. Okay?
Caitlyn's got a heart. That man probably hasn't been hugged in years, but he's already apologizing for what he's going to do next.
I found this on one of the firelights.
Here's how good the animation is. That pen nib was flexing as Jace wrote.
For now, we need to prevent any further attacks.
Short of searching everyone who crosses the bridges, I don't know how we can.
He planted
Then
that
that's
seed.
what we'll do.
Are you certain?
We have to protect the city.
Yeah, but that makes it such an us versus them thing. That's how you launch a civil war that quickly.
And Kiraman had a prisoner released on your order. Is there anything I can assist with?
Marcus is devious. And yet Jace is covering for Caitlyn.
Who holds you accountable?
What?
Shimmer is rampant in the Undercity. Enforcers fear to set foot in the lanes. All under your watch. Let me ask you this. What's your plan to fix this?
Yeah.
We need a leadership focused on the future, not the past. It has to be unanimous. All in favor?
Suddenly, he's in the center of the picture. Before Heimerdinger was, but
With my deepest respect and appreciation, Professor.
and with Mel comes the council. Yeah, look, Jace is at the top now. They reoriented, and now suddenly Heimerdinger's at the bottom. They chose those orientations very carefully when they framed that scene. And just like that, she seems to be better.
You used to live here. Who's Powder?
My sister. I thought she died, but no. I have to try and find her.
You don't have parents.
No. They were killed by enforcers.
Mm-hmm. Ugh. Just like
Vander's prodigy.
dogs begging for scraps. Including our man.
I thought you were the prize of your second-hand family. But Jinx, she is more than I ever imagined. You don't know your limits, girl. It's what got Vander killed, and what drove your sister away. And it's why I'm here right now.
Man, look at them morphing
Yeah,
right
well.
before our eyes.
You talk too much.
I like that even though Vi is very much a brute force, unarmed style character, she's smart. She punches the structure as opposed to the shimmered out dregs. Yeah, it's like cinematic. I mean, we're practically doing the opening credits as we do that circle shot around Jinx holding up a flare. There's Milo and Clagger, the weight that she carries. Oh, these transitions are so good. I didn't catch it the first time either, but the pillar that Vi punches to collapse that and escape is the pillar that had the heights of her and Powder as little kids. Oh, just the design. And the city's just walling itself off from the Undercity. And it's still alive. Plugged into a jar so that we can make our shimmer.
No.
The mutation must survive.
Powder?
There she is. There's times where, even at this age, something about her, she looks different and she looks younger. She looks like Powder. Like right then, when she heard her name.
Are you real?
Yes, of course.
Things changed when you left. I changed.
I know. How I know.
And here it all goes wrong.
Who's she? Your sister is Jinx.
Caitlin, just listen.
You're playing me. Oh, shut up!
Yeah.
I'm in no mood.
We didn't say
Those shots of Milo on her back, dead Milo.
I'm not going to abandon you again.
She's getting through,
Shut up.
but
I need to think.
she's hearing all these voices. And here they come. They've got each other's back still. That is such an amazing sequence right there. Even the design of all the individual firelights is awesome. The bat, the gorilla, the wolf.
Take her.
And she's been abandoned again. There was so much prospect for hope in that episode, especially in the last 5 minutes there. Vi and Jinx are reunited after years apart, and you can tell that Vi is getting through to Jinx, and that there's potential there for them to heal together. But it's like Jinx said, she changed so much since. And as soon as Caitlin appears, as soon as the firelights appear, old prejudices arise, and Jinx has been brainwashed is the wrong word, but she's been conditioned to react in certain ways to see certain people, including enforcers and the firelights, and they are both the enemy to her and Silco. And so she reacts as if they're the enemy, and it all falls apart. The simpler story in this world, the simpler story, and not a bad story, would be the two sisters reuniting, becoming a team again, and reclaiming the Undercity for good, and maybe forging new bonds with Piltover, and basically regaining the past. But that's not this story. This story is more complicated, more tragic, more difficult, because we were on the razor's edge of getting there. and it falls apart. And as much as we keep hoping that somehow we can get Powder back, we can't. Like, this is Jinx now, and she has changed, and Powder is a memory. Powder is dead. It's sad, but it's not wish fulfillment either. It's a real story, even though it takes place in this fantastical world. On a human level, it's incredibly real. Healing from mental illness, healing from traumatic stress is not an easy process. It is often unsuccessful. And this story just rings so genuine to me. It rings true. Obviously, I don't even know who said it, but I always thought this is something I always took to heart. Really good story is truth, even though there is no truth to it. Even though it isn't based on fact, even though it isn't based on history, even though it isn't non-fiction, it is nonetheless true. And I feel like Vi and Jinx are true characters. Their relationship is true, and their past is true, and how they acted and reacted in the climax to this episode is 100% true. It's real. And that's why story resonates so well, is when it's well written and well performed. It is truth. It creates reality, because it is real. It's in our head, but it 100% makes sense. It 100% rings true. I don't know how else to say it. It's magic, is what it is when good story is told extremely well. And that's what we've got here. That's what I love about this show. Yeah, I am 100% hooked. So yeah, this is a bit of a love letter to the show. I own that. I'm good with that. I have no problem saying that. But I'd love to hear your thoughts about this episode, the series in general. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to check out my Patreon as well. The link's in the description below. That's where you can get full-length reactions. You can get early access to all of my reactions, including these ones for Arcane, and you can vote on future reactions as well. It's also the best way possible to support the channel, but if you can't support the channel in that way, thank you so much for supporting it in this way, by watching me here on YouTube, by giving me a thumbs up. It really does make a difference to the channel, and I appreciate every minute you spend here on Neil Talks. Until next time, everybody, take care, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.